picture this, a creature you'd expect in a monster movie, right?
Yeah.
Terrorizing a small town way back in 1973.
1973.
Yeah, and this is the Enfield Monster,
Mm-hmm.
a cryptid that turned Enfield, Illinois completely upside down.
Mm.
And this isn't just some blurry photo or a quick shadow. We're talking about multiple people who saw it and even physical evidence.
Yeah. The Enfield case, that's one that really stands out in the whole world of cryptids, you know?
Hmm.
It really took hold of the entire town.
Right.
It wasn't just a single sighting or anything. This thing, it was around for a while, and people were really scared.
Yeah, Enfield was a small town, right? And it was suddenly thrust into the spotlight.
Right.
And it all started with a 10-year-old kid named Greg Garrett.
Huh?
He was just playing in his backyard.
Okay.
And he's attacked by something he can't even describe. A three-legged creature with grayish skin and these reddish eyes.
Wow.
And it steps on his feet.
Oh, no.
Yeah, tearing your shoes to shreds. It's like straight out of a nightmare.
That focus on the creature's feet, that's really interesting. You know, it keeps coming up in a lot of the Enfield Monster stories.
Right.
The way it moved its tracks, the damage it caused, it's all about this strange three-legged way of walking. It's like it's messing with our understanding of how animals are supposed to move.
Yeah.
You know?
So Greg's encounter was scary, but it's what happened to Henry McDaniel just 30 minutes later that really made the Enfield Monster famous.
Two encounters like that just minutes apart, and the descriptions are so similar. It wasn't just one person's imagination going wild.
Right.
There's a pattern there, and that's where things get really interesting.
So Henry finds his kids. They're terrified.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying something, tried to break into the house.
Oh, wow.
And he hears this scratching at the door, so he thinks it's just an animal.
Makes sense.
But when he opens the door, he's staring right at the Enfield Monster.
So we have a witness, right?
Huh?
A man who's not the type to exaggerate, and he's ready to protect his family. He grabs his gun. I mean, it really shows how much fear this creature caused.
Yeah, he describes it as having 3 legs, a short body, 2 short arms, and these glowing pink eyes.
Wow.
And he said these eyes were as big as flashlights.
It wasn't just some vague shadow.
Right.
This was a creature with very specific features, you know, burned into his memory.
Exactly.
Those glowing eyes, they make you think about, you know, being active at night.
Right.
And adaptation for seeing in the dark.
No.
What else about this creature's biology could be unusual?
Yeah, and get this, he fires 4 shots at it. It hits the creature.
What?
But instead of going down, it hisses and leaps away, covering 50 feet in just 3 bounds.
Wow.
I mean, we're not talking humanly possible speeds here.
The speed and the agility that adds a whole other layer to this mystery. This wasn't some slow, lumbering beast. It was fast. It was agile. It could cover ground incredibly easily. It challenges our understanding of how animals move.
Yeah, the police arrive, the creature's gone, but they find scratches on the house and these really weird dog-like footprints.
Okay.
Except they have 6 toes and they're only 3 feet in each track.
That physical evidence is so important. It takes this story beyond just people saying they saw something.
Right.
The scratch of the tracks, they suggest that this creature interacted with the world in a physical, tangible way.
Right.
It makes you question what you thought you knew about the natural world.
And Henry was convinced there's more than one of these things.
Really?
And that they're not from around here. He actually thought they were not from this planet.
That belief coming from someone who had such a close encounter is really unsettling.
Yeah.
It shows how we try to make sense of the things we don't understand.
Yeah.
What did Henry see that made him come to that conclusion?
Exactly. But the sightings, they didn't stop there.
No.
2 weeks later at 3 a.m., Henry McDaniel sees it again.
Wow.
This time it's on the railroad tracks nearby.
Mm.
He didn't shoot at it this time. He said it wasn't causing any trouble.
That's so interesting that the same person sees it again.
Right.
It makes you think about whether it had a pattern of behavior, maybe even a territorial instinct. Was this creature drawn to a certain area, you know, for food or shelter?
Yeah.
Or was it just curious about the humans it encountered?
Then 5 young men, they run into a similar creature. They say it's hairy.
Oh, wow.
And they open fire on it. But just like with Henry, the bullets don't seem to do anything.
Wow.
The creature just vanishes incredibly fast.
Multiple witnesses, consistent descriptions, and this apparent invulnerability.
Right.
It really makes you wonder what this creature was made of. Was it something beyond our understanding of biology?
Yeah.
You know?
Rick Rainbow, he was the news director for a local radio station.
Okay.
He and 3 other people, they encounter the creature near an abandoned house.
Wow.
And they actually managed to record its scream.
Oh, really?
It's a seriously creepy sound.
That recording, that's a crucial piece of the puzzle. It's tangible evidence that goes beyond just what people say they saw. We get a glimpse into the creature's vocalizations, how it might have communicated. What does that scream tell us about how it was feeling or its intentions?
Yeah.
It's a question that's fascinated researchers for years.
Lauren Coleman, he was a well-known cryptozoologist.
Yeah.
He investigated the Enfield Monster case, and even he was baffled by the eyewitness accounts and that eerie recording.
So he was stumped.
Yeah, he described it as a combo phantom kangaroo, devil monkey, and swamp ape situation, which kind of sums up how strange this thing was.
Coleman's bewilderment really speaks volumes. This is a man who's dedicated his life to studying the unexplained, and even he struggles to categorize the Enfield monster.
Yeah.
Its combination of characteristics, it just doesn't fit neatly into any known species. It challenges our ideas of what's possible in the animal kingdom.
So the Enfield Monster case, it overlaps with some other strange events that were happening at the time.
Oh, really?
Some people connected to a bunch of UFO sightings that were happening in the region, suggesting something extraterrestrial might be involved.
The UFO connection, that adds another layer of speculation. It shows how we try to connect things that seem unrelated.
Right.
Looking for patterns when faced with the unknown. Could there be a bigger picture we're missing?
Some people point to the creature's aggressive behavior, its attempts to break into homes and those blood-curdling cries as evidence of something demonic.
That taps into our deepest fear of the unknown, of forces we can't control.
Right.
It reminds us that we can project supernatural meaning onto things we don't understand.
Yeah.
It makes you question how folklore and cultural beliefs shape our perception of the world.
There's also a connection to something called the Mount Vernon Monster.
The Mount Vernon Monster?
Yeah, it was a leaping beast that was reported 30 years earlier, also in Illinois. Some people think it's the same creature returning on some kind of cycle.
The Mount Vernon Monster connection, it brings up the idea of a recurring phenomenon, a creature with a history spanning decades.
Right.
It raises questions about animal lifespans and behavior patterns that might defy our expectations. What secrets might be hidden in old stories and local legends?
So what are we left with? Multiple people saw this creature. The police found evidence, and there's a recording of its bone-chilling scream.
The Enfield Monster. It remains a mystery, a cryptid that defies easy explanation. It forces us to acknowledge the limits of our knowledge and to accept that there may be things in this world that we just don't understand.
Could it just be a case of mistaken identity? A known animal seen in bad lighting, or a trick of the light?
It's possible, but the descriptions are remarkably consistent.
Yeah.
And then there's the physical evidence. The 3 legs, the 6-toed tracks, the incredible speed. Those details suggest something truly unique.
Some cryptid enthusiasts believe it's a species we haven't discovered yet.
Right.
A hidden creature lurking right under our noses.
The idea of undiscovered species is fascinating.
Yeah.
We know so little about our planet, especially its most remote corners. Could the Enfield Monster be a holdover from another era, a creature that's managed to stay hidden for centuries?
And then there's a theory that Henry McDaniel leaned toward, that it was a visitor from another world.
The extraterrestrial hypothesis, that's intriguing.
Right.
But we need more than speculation. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. While we can't completely rule it out, it remains a theory for now.
Could it be something even more bizarre? Something that breaks the rules of biology and physics as we know them?
That's the allure of the unknown, isn't it? It lets our imaginations run wild, exploring possibilities beyond our current understanding.
Yeah.
Maybe the Enfield Monster is something that challenges the very fabric of reality as we know it.
The Enfield Monster, whether it was a creature of flesh and blood, a visitor from beyond the stars, or something else entirely, it remains an enigma.
Right.
It reminds us that the world is full of mysteries, and sometimes the most fascinating truths are hidden just beyond our grasp.
The Enfield Monster, it encourages us to stay curious, to question, and to never stop exploring.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that even in our age of scientific advancement, there are still wonders out there to be discovered. What do you think the Enfield Monster might be?
Makes you wonder, right? What if there are these creatures out there we just haven't found yet?
Yeah.
Ones that seem so out there, they make us rethink everything we thought we knew.
The Enfield case, it really gets at that human fascination with the unknown, you know? We want explanations, but sometimes the best answer is that we just don't know.
Right.
And that can be both exciting and a little scary.
And speaking of scary, those glowing pink eyes. I mean, that's an image that stays with you. Imagine seeing that in the middle of the night.
It definitely sparks the imagination. We can speculate about what they were for biologically,
Yeah.
but it also plays on that primal fear of the unknown, of things lurking in the darkness.
And the fact that Henry McDaniel actually shot at the creature
Yeah.
and it didn't even seem to faze it, that's a detail that's hard to forget.
It challenges what we think is possible. I mean, was it just incredibly tough? Did it move so fast that the bullets missed, or was there something else going on, something we don't understand scientifically?
It's interesting that even experienced researchers like Lauren Coleman were stumped by this case.
Yeah.
It shows that the Enfield Monster wasn't just some easily explained thing.
Coleman's expertise was in looking at the fringes of zoology, those creatures that exist right at the edge of our knowledge.
Right.
And even he was baffled by the Enfield Monster. It reminds us that there are still mysteries out there that can puzzle even the most seasoned investigators.
So where does that leave us? Do we just write off the Enfield Monster as a hoax or a misidentification? Or do we consider the possibility that something truly amazing was happening in Enfield, Illinois?
In the end, the Enfield Monster remains an open question. It's a puzzle with pieces that don't quite fit.
Yeah.
But maybe that's where its real value lies, in the question that makes us ask, the challenges it throws at how we understand the world.
Maybe the Enfield Monster isn't about finding definite answers, but about accepting the mystery. It reminds us that the world is full of wonder and that there's so much we still don't know.
It's a call to stay curious, to keep our minds open, and to remember that sometimes the most fascinating truths are the ones that resist easy explanations. And who knows, maybe one day we'll unlock the secrets of the Enfield Monster. But until then, it serves as a reminder that the world is full of surprises.